I was,
to
nigga.
this
You lucky
music.
on that day I was
Young
acting cool,
Groove
cuz.
vibes.
I told you I ain't got time for that, but nigga, today
I
I got time, cuz.
That's the honesty.
Yeah, you know time is of the essence. Yeah, I try, little baby. Put your feelings to the side, little baby. You
It
got
takes
too much
time.
on, little baby. I ain't had
But
time
yeah, let's get into this,
yesterday,
man.
but
What's up,
today
y'all?
I got time, little
Welcome back to another episode of A Man's Perspective. I'm your host, Jones, and today we got an interesting topic we got going on. But before we get into the topic, we're gonna do an amazing introduction. This is my guest for today, Lovely. If you guys remember, Lovely was one of my guests on the very first season of A Man's Perspective.
The very first episode.
That was the first
That
episode?
was the first episode.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Set the tone. Then that was the first episode of A Man's Perspective, and it was super great. I'll put the link in the description if you want to check that episode out. But Lovely, we've been good friends for a very long time.
Yeah, 2012.
2012. If you guys remember those Shrine days, you know, if you know, you know.
If you don't, I'm sorry.
That was a great time for the whole crew. But yeah, I do. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. If you got anything you want to say, you know, tell them your name, full name. I don't know.
Well, I'm Jameer. I'm just always here to support my friend when he calls me. Clearly,
Real
I
one.
drop everything to
Real
come
one.
and support him. I see great things happening for him, and his content is amazing. His heart is amazing, and I just see him going really, really far. He's a smart guy. I enjoy, and I'm pretty sure you all enjoy, you know, everything that he brings to the table and his content and things that he talk about. He spark a lot of conversation. So I'm just happy to be here. I'm grateful to be someone that he reached out to be a
100%.
part of, like for the second time. So
Definitely.
I guess I've known what I'm talking about a little bit.
Oh, definitely. Me and Lovely, we have you know, it's a thing called low level conversations and high level conversations, and there's nothing wrong with either or, unless you consume too much of the low conversation. You know, nothing wrong with a little bit of entertainment, but whenever I reach out to Lovely, it's never, you know, that low vibration type of thing. But we're gonna get this started off with. So I read a lot, so I want to start the episodes off with a wealth law. So I'm not gonna tell you guys who's the author of this book, or you know the name of the book. I don't want you to go looking it up and jumping ahead of the gun. But we're gonna start this off with a wealth law, and wealth law number 1. This is, here we go. Rich people believe I create my life, and poor people believe life happens to me. And I love that, because whenever I catch myself complaining, or basically complaining, you know, if I because it's a conscious thing with me. If I catch myself complaining, I think about what I've done that led me to this point, because shit ain't just happening out of the blue. You know, it's our decisions that end up getting us a certain result.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the rich people believe they create their life, and poor people believe, oh, woe is me type of thing. And I don't ever want to fall into that mentality. I like to hold myself accountable, because I can make better decisions. I make a lot of good decisions, but nobody's perfect. So whenever something does go wrong, I just do a little inventory check on thinking, oh, okay, I remember, I know why this is happening.
Yeah.
X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
So that's a wealth law for you guys.
I love that.
Oh yeah. And then I wanted to implement this. This is gonna be this is definitely one of the dopest parts of the podcast. So I want to implement this segment called "I See You, Black Man," and it's just I was just thinking, I got a lot of dope friends who do a lot of great things, and you know, a lot of times we can get so, and I basically noticed this with myself. You can get so caught up in the grind, you doing your thing, you being consistent, and sometimes you don't really get the recognition you maybe feel you deserve, or the encouragement or the reassurance you need to keep going. Because anytime somebody inbox me, or hey man, you doing your thing, I see you've been dropping heat, you've been doing this, you've been doing that, it lights a few, like, oh man, my work, you know, is not going unnoticed. No good deed is, you know,
It's reaching the people.
Facts. So this segment is called "I See You, Black Man," and I wanted to highlight one of my homeboys. His name is Lange. Y'all probably know him as Capo 773. He's a chef, and he does his thing. You know, he got pop up shops coming up. He's been doing the work as far as reaching out to be a part of certain events and just getting his name out there so a lot of people can know, because he been cooking me for years, and I always tell like your food is great. So I see you, black man, Capo 773. That's his Instagram. Y'all can follow him. Follow his business page. If you got any events coming up, you know what I'm saying, you can reach out to him, and he'll definitely be your food vendor. So yeah, I see you, black man. All right, let's get into the topic. So the topic today is going to be our mothers grooming simps, right? And that topic, it caused a lot of
Controversy.
yeah, definitely. People
A lot
like,
of
what?
conversation.
What do you mean? So if you guys don't follow, it's a blog page called SpiritualWord. I always say world, but I
Me
wanted to
too.
make sure I said that right. SpiritualWord. They made a post. They posted someone else's content on there, and I want to share this with you guys, right? So it was a young mother, and what she was doing, she wanted to show her son how to properly court a woman, and so she gave her son $150. I want to pull this up. She gave her son $150, and she basically taught him how to make a dinner reservation.
Mhm.
You know, and then it was clips where she said, I'm gonna pull it up real quick. It was clips where she showed him opening up the car door. They were sitting at the dinner table. She said, "Okay, here we go." All right, yeah, here we go. I gave my son $150 and taught him how to plan and execute a date. I made him make a proper reservation. I told him to let me order first, and he decide on what the food he wanted, and then keeping a tip in mind, made sure he opened up my doors and made sure he complimented, gave me compliments on how I looked and stuff like that. And so this was very strategic on my end. I commented a very controversial statement in the in the comments, and I said this. I want to get it verbatim too. I said simp loading.
Ignorant.
Oh my goodness. I said simp loading. Here we go. I said simp loading. He gonna think he gotta do this for every woman. They all don't deserve this. So he got about 238 likes. So 238 people agree with me. That's pretty cool. But he also got like over 100 comments, and I'll say more than half of them were women who hurt you, nigga. You ain't shit. This one girl told me, she said, you look like you kill women when you get rejected.
Dang.
I'm like, damn. Like me. But obviously, I didn't take any of that to heart. None of those people know me or anything like that. But I want to talk about, that my comment and what I meant behind that, right? So I said simp loading, he's gonna think every woman deserves this, in which they don't. So it was nothing, let's be clear, it was nothing wrong with his actions, because I commented it based off of what I seen, because I don't know the conversations that's being had on the other side of that.
Yeah.
And what the other side of that is the conversations of the other side of women.
Right.
Because you definitely want to treat the women who deserve it like that. But what about the women who don't deserve that? Yeah. Let's just say she didn't have that conversation with him, and he's gonna go into the world thinking, every single woman needs to be treated like a queen. Yeah. So I wanted to bring Lovely on because she has a young son, and I just want to get her perspective on how she is teaching her son how to treat women and stuff like that.
I think that experience is gonna decipher who deserves that treatment and who doesn't.
Yes.
Her showing him how to treat a woman is the only thing that women can teach a boy, how to, be when growing into a man. I think at this time as millennials, we all have in our mind that we can't teach a boy how to be a man. I cannot teach my son how to be a man. I have a preteen who is 12, and he is, finding things out about himself, and he has questions that I cannot answer. I don't know the perspective of a single mom, because not only is his father involved, my husband is also involved. So he have men that he's able to go to about certain questions, but my son is very vocal with me. So like, he talks to me about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And what I don't know, I tell him to talk to them. I remember when my son was small, younger, and this may be TMI. A few experiences my son has had throughout his life may be a little TMI, but hey. He was younger, his little wanker was standing up. Right. Yeah, I know what that means. And he woke up in the morning. It was like right after he woke up. And I'm like, I didn't know how to respond. He said, Mommy, why is it like that? And I didn't know how to respond. And I'm like, stop thinking. I didn't know what to say, because it was like, I don't have one. I don't know why it's like that, So I told his dad. And his dad, it was like the most simple answer, but it was something that I didn't even think of.
Right.
I wouldn't have known, because again, I'm not a man. And he said, Dad, whatever. And his dad said, just go pee in the morning. Like, it just means you have to pee when you wake up in the morning. I was like, why couldn't I think of that? But I couldn't think of that because I don't have a wanker. That's why I couldn't think of that. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So, it's just certain things that I can't give him, so for her, I don't know her story. I don't know her, the backstory. I don't know if she's teaching him that part and there's a man at home that's teaching him how to tie his tie or how to properly shake a man's hand and look him in the eyes. I don't know if it's someone at home that is teaching him that. What we saw was just her showing him how to treat a woman. And I feel like that's our part. I feel like that's my part in my son's life, to show him how to treat a woman and how to respect a woman. And I can't say, my son, he's 12. I can't give him the breakdown and there's some women out here that's HOEs and they might not, and he's like, what is that? Right. It's too much, so it's going to take the experience for him to come to me and say, Ma, I really like this girl, but she like another boy. And that's when Then it's like, baby, she ain't the one. Right. Baby, she a little loose, or whatever the case may be. I can't give him what his father or what his stepfather can give him. So I have a different perspective from single moms, because it's women out here who are really trying to figure it out on their own. Yeah. And they probably Googling how to answer questions that their sons have, or they probably asking friends of friends. I mean, you never know. Women, single moms are really out here just trying to figure it out, it all out.
And we're gonna play devil's advocate, but before we do, I want to ask you a question. So before you met your husband, damn near back in our shrine days, when you was basically a single woman, have you ever went on a date or accepted an offer to go on a date with a guy, and you knew you wasn't really feeling him, but maybe you wanted to go get cute that night? Maybe it was like a dinner thing, I don't mind going out to eat. Like, you cool. It ain't like I don't like you 100%, but I know I don't like you romantically, but I like your company. You're a cool guy, so I'll go on a date with you. Yeah. Have you ever experienced that?
So honestly, no. Okay. Because I really didn't have I really didn't date. I was like a relationship kind of girl. Mm-hmm. So it was like, before my husband, I was in what you want to call a relationship, or whatever it was called, a situationship. Right. But I was only with that one person, and then before that person, I was with my son's father. So it was like, it wasn't a lot of in-between stages where I was like dating and was like, oh yeah, he's taking me out. I didn't have that type of where I was dealing with somebody that I possibly didn't like. I've always been out and dated who I was with at that time. It was always just like that person. I had my fun before I had my son, and that rhymes.
It did rhyme.
And I was younger, so it wasn't really dating like that. We wasn't really going out on dates to nice restaurants or anything like that at 18. I had my son at 21, so I kind of grew up pretty dang on fast.
True, because so when you had your son...
Don't start. I was doing that. Because I already know you about to be ignorant.
You were setting it
up. I already know you about to be ignorant. No, I had him at 21, and that's just that.
I'm just saying, when you had your son, I probably was maybe 10. So, I get it. No, I'm kidding, y'all. We got a running joke.
Go to hell.
Nah, but so like as far as the playing devil's advocate, right? So I'm gonna because I see a lot. You know, I got my obviously the podcast. A lot of women reach out to me. A lot of women give me their dating experiences, the good, the bad. So I see a lot of different. So people won't know that a lot of times my perspectives or my conversations spark from people's real life situations or either my own real life situation. So playing devil's advocate, let's say the woman in the video, she doesn't have like that father figure. Let's say she is that single mom and she's out here teaching her son how to, court women. So being that she's a single mom, just like you said, you couldn't relate to the single mom aspect because number one, you're not a man. It's certain things that you just don't know.
Yeah.
So you're gonna do the best that you can because
With
you're gonna
what I
teach
have.
your son to treat women how you would want to be treated.
Yeah.
But when you do it that way and you don't teach the son the other side, he goes into like you said, experience is gonna take into account to whereas he's gonna be able to decipher who deserves what. But initially, he's gonna have he's gonna be gullible, because he's gonna think because what do kids know? What we show and what we teach him. So he's gonna go as he gets older. He's gonna go into every dating experience where this is how a woman needs to be treated.
Yeah.
X, Y, Z, and that same page posted. So I had all of those women that was they were going at my head saying you hurt X, Y, Z. But that same exact page who posted the single mom showing her son how to court a woman, the same page also posted this. And I'm gonna give y'all the date so y'all can maybe go back and check out the page of Spiritual Word. And they posted this video on, okay, I can't get the date. I'm gonna give it to y'all later. I'll maybe post a link in my description too. But it says, me out to eat with a nigga I'll never sleep with. It's just a video of, the guy just enjoying himself, whatever. And in the comments, it's women like, that's me, hell yeah, true. And it was just a perfect example of, because the guy that she's on a date with, she said, me out to eat with the nigga that I'll never sleep with. And that guy was probably taught by a single mom that, this is how you treat women.
Yeah.
And then you got the other side of women who he wasn't taught about and he hasn't determined, he hasn't learned how to decipher between who deserves what. She's now taking advantage of him on the dinner date with intention. Like she just know none that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I just think it's important to tell these young men the other side at the appropriate age.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Now you good.
Oh. And I'm gonna speak out of my own experiences too throughout this conversation. In a relationship I had a while ago, I remember I used to talk to him so mean. It was always, shut up. And it was the immature me. It was the me who I didn't know myself. I was young. I was so immature. So it was always shut up. It was always, just mean and rude for no reason. He was so nice. Oh my God, he was so nice. And I'm not gonna say who it is. But he was really, really nice to me. He was really, really good to me, but I didn't know how to treat him. I didn't know how to. I was too young for the treatment that he was giving me. I wasn't ready for that type of stuff.
How old were you guys?
19. I just saw who it was a little bit.
Right. Okay, you
right.
think back. So
about 19, 20. Like I was young, 18, 19, 20, around that time.
It's so crazy. 18, 19, right? You didn't know any better, but he also didn't know any better. But
because
he probably did what he was taught.
And he was raised by a single mother.
Super gentleman.
Yeah.
Treated you with the utmost respect.
And I was rude. And the thing was, although I came from, my mom is amazing. My mom taught me how to be a woman. My mom taught me, but it was still my own experiences that I had to go through. 100%. So it took for me to hurt him,
Yeah.
for him to really find himself and for him to find his voice. And I remember the very first time he found his voice, I told him to shut up. And he told me, he looked me in my face and he said, "You're not going to talk to me like that."
Oh.
And I was like, okay. And I promise you, I changed my tone with him from that moment forward because he demanded that respect from me. I'll be nice to you. But you're not going to treat me like that. And I had to switch up the way that I treated him because, and honestly, his behavior changed after that. After that, he became this man who was messing around and dealing with multiple. That's not who he was before. I had to simp him.
Okay.
You know, I had that part of him where I was able to walk all over him. But when he started to find him, when he began to mature and find his voice and everything like that, he was kind of like, he stood up to me like, you know, and I matured to know that I can't talk to a man like that. And once I shared that with my mom, she broke it down to me like, you can't talk to a man like that, baby. Like, a man is a man, like, you know, and I learned it. It was experience. It was all experience that we both had to go through to learn because I wouldn't dare talk to my husband like that.
Oh,
okay?
no, we know that ain't going down.
I wouldn't dare talk to my husband out the side of my neck, okay? So, yeah, it's all about experience.
Definitely. So I'm glad you said that. The young age, just not knowing. So my point in making that comment, and the point is, you know, maybe for a single mother who maybe be in that young woman situation. Let's just say if you're a single mother and you don't have the father in his life, and you're teaching him, just be aware of that is the other side. And women know this. Yeah. Women, y'all know how y'all can be. So you want to teach them both sides because a lot of guys get taught one way. Yeah. And then they have to get awakened by a woman who's gonna break their heart. But I mean, and it's all at a certain time too. You know what I mean? Like just like we was just saying before we started recording, we was talking about it. You know, what was it that we was talking about? The age range of a simp, quote unquote. You know, like when we was just sitting here talking and we were saying like, you know, little boys between what, Terry, 5th grade and okay, I'll give you yeah,
you know, 11, 12, 11, you know, like that's
I'm gonna get into it, bro. I'm gonna get vulnerable up in here.
You was a simp at 18? I mean, I can see that. Like I said, I was dating a simp at 18 until he found his voice.
You said you can see that. You looked at Terry and said you can see that he was a simp at 18.
He's offended. You know, that's the word of the night, offended. No, I'm just saying because that's normal. It's normal for most men to be a simp at that age, you know, and it takes, yet again, offended and experience is the word of the night. It took experience for him to probably not be a simp anymore. Probably came across the right female that showed him how he was supposed to be treated or what he wasn't going to take.
Let's define simp.
That was my very first question. That's what I wanted to ask you as an opener. Okay. Define the word simp, because when you say simp, I'm thinking of the B word, the P word. Okay. You know, so tell me what's a simp.
All right, so I believe a simp is a guy who places a woman on a pedestal and he goes above and beyond for her in all aspects with little to no reciprocation. You know what I'm saying? He is this, I'll do this for you, I'll do that for you. And she hasn't proven anything to him to deserve that side of him because
he just wants the attention. He'll do anything for the attention.
He'll get anything for the validation of that woman. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like men, like women have to get that side of you. She has to earn that side of you.
That's men really knowing their value too. So me as a woman and me as a mother. I ain't learned that shit
for a minute, but go ahead.
Yes, me as a mother, I always tell my husband this because my husband had his run before we met, okay? When me and my husband got together, he was ready. Yeah. Okay? It took him, it took for him to, him in college and high school. Those was his years and probably the early parts of his 20s that he had his fun. When we got together, he was ready to be a man and to be a husband and to be a father.
Now you were basically go ahead, Remy. Okay, cool. So you were basically saying
just that quick. That's how it happens.
No, but where were you going with that?
So with my husband, so when I met him, okay, so like by the time we got together, he kind of figured out who he was. He kind of figured out that he was just a man.
Who
So
knows value?
exactly. So like when I was coming up, it was an older lady who used to always tell me, "You the prize in the Cracker Jack box." You know, she used to always say that to me.
You didn't even have to say
And-
she was old.
Yeah.
The Cracker Jack box. I already know.
And she always said, "You the prize in the Cracker Jack box," all the time, right? And I was younger, and I didn't know I was a prize in the Cracker Jack box. But this is what I tell my husband, that I want to teach my boys that they are the prize in the Cracker Jack box too.
Okay.
You know, because I feel like, you know, we teach our girls, you know, that, you know, hold your body to this, you know, your body is a temple. You know, everybody shouldn't be able to, you know, be next to you. Or I want to instill that in my daughter, but I want to instill that in my boys too. I want my boys to understand that you don't have to lay with anybody. You don't have to be with everybody, you know? And men mainly, they go through that run of just being with anybody. And I think that's what I was saying about my husband. Before we got married, he went through that run of just like doing whatever, you know? And I really want to instill in my boys, just as much as I still instill in Kinsley, that you're worthy. You don't have to lay with Tasha, Tanisha, and Kelly, you know what I mean?
No pun
Because
intended to y'all.
no pun intended, ladies. You don't have to lay with all of these women. Like you can keep your virginity too. But see, that's the mom in me, you know, because ain't no father telling his son, "Stay a virgin till you marry, son."
I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah, but me as a mother, I would love for my boys to stay a virgin to their married. And it ain't nothing wrong with it. I would love it, you know. But they also need their fathers. They need their fathers.
Look, that's why I'm letting you talk. You know, that is a beautiful perspective. That would be amazing if that happened.
Exactly, but they need their fathers.
Like your
in
husband
reality,
is Kenny. That's not happening.
And we're just really hoping Kenji don't, because Kenji is a spitting image of Kenny. So let's just hope.
So I like what you said, that you said you want to teach your son that he's also the prize in the Cracker Jack box. First of all, we is not finna be, we not
Right.
finna clone that.
We are not about to be on
We're
this
not finna be on this motherfucker talking about the pride in the cat. God damn it.
millennial site talking about
I
Cracker Jack
like
box.
that you said that your son is also the prize.
Worthy, right.
You know what I'm saying? Without canceling out, that doesn't mean the woman isn't the prize.
Exactly.
But he's also the prize.
Exactly.
So what exactly is going to make your son the prize also?
So I mean, even with the things that you see in the video, the purpose of this podcast, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you know, you should take women on dates. You should, you know, pull out a woman's chair, walk on the outer side of the street, hold her hand, make her feel protected. But there's times where she can take you out too.
100%.
There's times where she can pay for a date when you're in a serious relationship. There's times you ain't gonna be out here just giving your money, just, you know, out here, you know. So I think that is showing him that he is a prize. Also, you know, like she can do it too. You know, she can. It's okay with. Now, I'm not saying, because you know the conversation of 50-50 is big, right? Everybody talk about in the household it's 50-50. My household isn't 50-50. Like,
I'm already knowing.
I pay a little something. I help out a little bit around there, but, you know, I allow him to lead. And that's what he chooses to do, you know? So you don't have to be a man that is like macho, you know, I'm doing everything, because it's hard these days. And I can just imagine what it'll be like when our kids get older. So if she wants to help out around the house and she wants she should be able to pitch in. Like, I couldn't imagine in today's economy sitting back and watching my husband struggle, sitting back and watching him just trying to carry the world on his back without me standing in front of him and lifting him up. Like, I couldn't imagine being that woman to just be like, he got it. You know what I mean? Like, I want my son to understand that, yes, as a man, you are to take the lead, but she can help.
For sure.
We are not living in 1960s where rent was what?
$26.
$26. Like, a 2-bedroom in Chicago is how much?
A lot.
A whole lot.
A lot.
So I mean, unless you making hundreds of $100,000 a year in Chicago, you need some help.
I agree. So and you guys just got the perspective of a married woman on how she want to show her son.
Y'all peek in my little household.
Then that he's the prize. So in ways in which men can be the prize in my eyes is because you got to think about. So again, a lot of women reach out to me. I hear a lot about dating experiences. I hear a lot about the types of men that women are dealing with, and with me knowing that, another way that men is also the prize in my eyes is when he is attentive, that gentleman that she was teaching him to be in the video, emotionally intelligent, all of that, because a lot of men aren't.
Yeah.
So with you being a well-rounded man with all of these things going, and not even speaking, we ain't even touched on finances just yet. We just speaking on you as your character as a man, and how you treat a woman, and just being aware and being capable of doing that.
Yeah.
Now it's up to you to choose who to do that and who to do that for. But just by you being aware and having that in your arsenal, and a lot of men not, you now are an anomaly. Because it's not a lot of men out there like you.
Yep.
So you are also the prize, not canceling out the woman.
And honestly, when you come across, I know boys get a little excited when they see, the big butts, and but
to this day.
Yeah.
To this day. Go ahead.
But when you are a man of standards, there's just certain type of women that you probably wouldn't even feel comfortable with approaching you, or
Lovely.
you approaching, you know what I mean? With the type of man that you are today, would you touch the type of women that you touched in 2012?
They don't qualify no more.
Exactly. Because of how you carry yourself, because of how you value yourself, the man that you've become. The man
that I've built to become.
Exactly.
When
you worked hard for the man that you are. So you can't let anybody in your space. That's why you got to be careful with even who you allow on this podcast. Because they'll come up in here and they'll shake the room, and you'll be up in here trying to weed out them spirits.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, I'm glad you said that, because as you work on yourself as a man, you disqualify. Because it's a lot of things that men complain about with women. I said this once before on the podcast, I believe, that it just don't come across my radar. I don't even attract them type of women because of who I built to become.
It's important to be that type of man, because it's normally always the woman, a woman, and I am tooting my own horn, because it's certain men that wouldn't approach me. I mean, it's a certain type of men that wouldn't come my way because of how I carry myself and so it's amazing to see a woman would love and want a man so much more because of that alone. Because of how he carry himself and how he value himself. It's not just anybody that can touch me. And that's how I want my boys to be. That's what I want them, how I want them to carry themselves. Everybody can't touch you and carry yourself as such. And back straight, neck up.
100%. And that journey to even get there as a man, it's a very long journey. It starts as a young man.
Are you 30 yet?
31.
Oh, you're such a baby.
We know, compared to you.
And let me be very clear. I am only 32.
I did not want you to tell your age. I wanted to keep this joke going.
He's talking about she's still lying. I'm 33.
37.
Dang.
37. First of all, if y'all
you
don't
are
love
lying. He's talking about 37.
She was the only one that didn't need an ID to get enshrined.
He's a liar.
But that journey to even become, because I think about the evolution of me from when I first started, basically sleeping with women and, dating women and stuff like that up until now. I see that a lot of women can't, just get next to me. Yeah. But that comes with a lot of personal development, intentional work. And it's not that this ego thing where, oh no, she can't fuck. It's literally you're not on the same vibration.
And it's okay to think that way about yourself. It's okay because some people kind of try to dumb it down, or they try to make it no, it's okay. Like I said, I'm tooting my own horn.
Because and men, why it's okay? Because also think about with women. Women disqualify guys all day. based off of the presentation alone, where you at in life, this and that. They will fucking read you like a book up and down in the door, like you don't qualify for me.
Yep.
So I definitely do the same thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not irrational either.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I look at where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool. You know, I ain't walking around like, goddamn it, nigga, I can have Beyonce.
Because it's some women that's out of your league.
Say it again?
It's some women that's out of your league.
Yes, it is. It is.
I mean, and that's not to be shady.
We just talked about this. So when she said, it's some women out of my league, and that's true, it is levels to this shit.
Yeah.
Like, it truly is. And as a man, I feel like men are a little bit more rational when it comes to our lanes than women. Because you have the basic starlet, you know, bartender feeling like she deserves Russell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Versus with, I'm going to just say me, I feel like it's work I got to do to get to certain levels. And I don't mind putting in that work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But better believe shorties from 5 years ago, you know, it's a dub for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You couldn't even touch me.
You couldn't even touch me, you know? So to piggyback on, because let's talk about how I was raised, right? So I grew up with my mother and my father, 2-parent household, entire life, right? So with my dad, with my mom, obviously, I can remember this. I can remember this like yesterday. I got 3 older sisters. One has passed away, but the two that I have with me, we grew up together, and we would be out. It would be me and my 2 sisters and my mom. And let's say we go into the mall. You know, I'm just a younger brother, blah blah. I'll open up the door, go to the mall. My mama would literally grab my back shirt, snatch me back, and say, "Hold the door open for us." And I'm like, "Oh, I forgot." You know, and she would do that every time it happened.
Yeah.
Basic courtship, you know, even with as far as the side on the street, you know.
Yeah.
That is so ingrained in me.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be walking on the side of the street with a nigga, and it'll cross my mind, and I have to stop myself. I'm nigga, he good over there. He can get hit first.
Right.
Like, that's how much it's ingrained in me, right?
Yeah.
So what that did because we growing up in different times. Like me, I'm gonna raise my son differently than my father raised me because it's just different.
Yeah.
My dad we didn't really get into depth as far as dating and knowing my worth, as far as who can talk to me or who deserves what. And it was just I literally winged it, even though my dad was in the house.
So I can completely relate because I grew up in a 2-parent household. Although he wasn't my biological father, my mom married now her ex-husband, but he was there for a really long time until I moved out as an adult. And I seen that, but it's a lot of things, although my mom is just like this amazing mom, and it's still a lot of things that I wish she would have taught me, you know, coming up. And we blame our parents so much for what it is that they didn't do, but they also didn't know it all either.
You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. And I realized that my mom was giving what she was taught. You know, she was mothering me the way that her mother mothered her. So she didn't know it all. She didn't. And if I wasn't angry with her, I wish it was things that I would have known coming up, but it just made me want to be all of that for Kinsley. You know, it made me want to be the things that it's just things that I will correct. When Kinsley gets older, I'm pretty sure that the times will be different. Things will change, and there's things that I probably miss that she's growing up, that she'd probably say, I wish my mom would have did this, and that. And we can acknowledge it, and I can apologize, and I can tell her, baby, I just didn't know. But guess what? She'll be different for her child. I mean, none of us are perfect.
Each generation is just going to get better and better and better.
Exactly. Because as millennials, we are so self-aware. We are digging deeper. We are, forgiving.
Therapy.
Exactly. We're forgiving. We are having open conversations. We are speaking our minds. We are setting boundaries. We're doing so much as millennials. I can only imagine how it'll be when our kids become, when they're our age. They'll be so, I'm kind of scared of it. This generation, especially with social media, our voice is loud. Spooky. We speaking our minds. So we ain't taking a lot of stuff.
You're going to have the conversations you think that can wait you're going to have to touch on it very early because they're going to end up finding out from somebody else.
And I used to say that when Ryan was younger. I used to say, you know, women, that mother being a parent is so hard because you think that it's so much more than just being than dressing your child. You know, again, I had him at 21, so everything was like about, I didn't know a lot. So okay, I want him to have these shoes, I want him to have this, I want him to dress like this, you know. But then as he got older, it's the things that the kids at school is introducing him to before I even thought of it. And it's like, dang, like, you know, when he started asking questions like, Mom, why she, you know, her skin this, or why her hair like that and her hair like that? And you know what I mean? Like, he want to know those questions. And I'm like, I'm literally printing off pictures when he was like 6, 7. Like, okay, this is how a black woman looks, and this is a white woman, and this is, you know, I'm like trying to teach him the best way I know how. At 7, I was still young, trying to figure it out. Yeah. Still trying to figure it out.
No, it's a constant. We just students, man, and we teaching our kids based off of our experiences and what we learning as we go along, and not to drift off too far away from the conversation. It just popped in my head. One of the things that I learned, not late into parenthood, but he was older, was to give him grace to question certain things that I tell him to do or to say.
Yep.
You know, and right now I'm struggling with that line because it's so thin. Like, if I tell you to clean your room, this ain't the time to question shit.
Yeah.
Nigga, do it.
Exactly.
Versus something else.
Like I said so, or, you know, I mean, they'll try it, but.
Of course. But to get back with, you know, how I was raised, Pops, you know, he was in the household every day, but as far as the dating conversation go, it didn't get too in depth. So when I met my son's mom at, I believe I was 19, was I 18? I think I was 18. It was right after high school. Everybody else was going out to school. I didn't go like off to college.
Same.
And I met my son's mom, and that was the first time I like fell in love. So first of all, straight out of high school, no experience with dating women, like seriously, really. So she got a version of me that was a fresh version. I was basically the simp. I'm talking about I couldn't go out without mentioning. I remember my best friend, Kevin. Kevin used to be so mad at me, G. We'd be out kicking it, and I'd be like, damn, she just looked like Isha. And he like, nigga, stop fucking talking about her. I was head over heels, you know what I'm saying? And I was a simp, basically.
Yeah.
And she, it happened, and I basically woke up, you know?
Right.
So it was things that I learned from experience, but I would just like to see what would happen because I would like to see what would happen if you raise a young man, because that's how my son gonna be. Yeah. I caught him doing some simp shit too, like me and Kenny was talking about. And I quickly.
Same. We try to, but they gonna do it.
Yeah, he gonna do it, but it's about the awareness. Yeah. So I would like to see what it's like for a young man to grow up aware that a woman can manipulate him and use him for, these particular things. So when it happens, it's not like this complete devastation. Yeah. Because how many times, let's just say something happened to you, I don't want to say necessarily traumatically, but let's just say something happened to you and you kind of knew it hurt, but it ain't, break you. Yeah. Versus you just out here gullible and
kind of trying to prepare yourself for
and
it
it's
before
like,
it happens because you know it's gonna come.
Right. So it's like, what just you? So it shatter your whole world. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's just about the awareness. So when I saw that video, I was just hoping that it was somebody on the other side of that.
So when he get his little heart broken, he gonna look at her like my daddy told me about.
Like okay, cool. That's how that look. My
daddy told me about you. Okay.
Because this women in my life, who was a part of my life, was still a part of my life. They will literally tell you. Like, it's certain women who can't even believe I was a simp before. Like, really? It was just like, what? You?
I think every man was a simp. Yeah. I don't think that there's not a man who.
She, you know why she says that? Because she gets a different version of me.
Right. Okay.
So she can, you got to think about it. Because sometimes people, when you meet somebody, that's the image of them. But think about people in high school and let's just say they decided to reinvent themselves and they this different person. And you will see it. You be like, nigga, I kind of remember what, So that's why that's another episode, about reinventing yourself. We're going to get into that. But yeah.
So I had this conversation with my husband. He's never had his heart broken. I think that he's a simp for me. I think he's in his simp mode now
And nothing wrong
because
with
he's
that.
never been a simp before me. He's never had his heart broken. He's never been like yeah, you can do that. Yeah, okay, I forgive you. Like he's
Right.
never been that person. But now it's like, hey, babe, can I buy? Go on here, man. You know, it's that, babe, I'm sorry. I forgive you. He's never had that before. So that's crazy to me that he has, when he told me, I said, you've never had, I said, okay.
That's the look at you. Challenge accepted.
No, I don't want my head knocked between the washer and the dryer.
But that's a perfect. Kenny is a perfect example. Like if he's married,
Exactly.
5 years in, happy marriage, never had to go through the
Never
simp
had to
phase
go
and getting
through
his
the
heart
simp
broke.
phase.
Maybe
That's
because
crazy
it was
to me.
something that he was aware of. Maybe somebody
Exactly.
told him something.
Or I think that he's never open. And what's crazy is not that it matters. But he was in a relationship for 7 years. Not that it counts.
Fuck that.
It didn't count, but he was in a relationship for 7 years.
Right.
But he was also unfaithful for 7 years. So I think that's what helped him. He was trifling.
Yo,
He was
I'm like,
Love that.
But he, it don't matter now. I'm not
Right.
just putting my business out. But
don't
no,
matter.
he was, he was in that relationship for 7 years, and I think that's what saved him from having a broken heart too, because it wasn't like he was with somebody who had it together, or she was young, he was young, they were both doing their thing. So I think that's what kept him from getting his heart broken, because then I came along. It was just like,
you came along. And oh my god.
swept him
And
off
boom.
his feet. Swept him right off his feet. It took no time too, ladies. Don't let that man tell you he don't know, okay? My husband proposed to me after 1.5 years. They know.
They know. Nah, facts. But man, there's always, like I said, as y'all can tell, high level conversations with Lovely, man. It's always a pleasure having you
so
on.
much.
But before we get out of here, I want to give you guys a weekly challenge. So this weekly challenge is, I challenge you, if you're listening, I challenge you to accept different perspectives without judgment. Before you judge it, take under consideration, a lot of different things. And you can only take under consideration as far as your perspective go, but just being aware that this person may have different experiences than me. So before, you know what I'm saying? So
I live by that.
I try before you judge, I challenge you this week. Today is Wednesday.
Yep.
From now until next Wednesday. Because there's going to be situations, you might see something on social media, you're going to be, this mother.
Don't
Just-
say what you would if I was in there. If that
Just,
was me.
just take a second to think, like,
You
this
don't
person
know.
probably been through something that I
don't
probably
know what
never will
people
go
gon-
through or
yeah.
haven't been through. You know what I'm saying? So
And
just
don't ever say what you won't go through. Don't
Yeah,
ever say
gotta
you
test
would
you.
never. Ooh-wee.
got to test you.
Been there, done that.
And lastly, let's get with these 3 takeaways. Can I introduce you, G? Or I still got to go by the real nigga?
So this is the camera. That's not.
Both of them are.
Oh, okay.
We gonna keep it exclusive. So my background help. She's gonna give y'all 3 takeaways, from our conversation today. And what were the 3 takeaways that you came up with?
Let me see. For starters, I said encouragement and reassurance is needed from your friends, from your people around you, your tribe, the people that's watching. That's cool to encourage and reassure. It's appreciated.
I like that.
Women can't teach a man how to be a man. Let a man teach a man how to be a man. But salute to the mothers who are trying to teach a man to be a man. Who's just trying to figure it out? Facts. The other one was, boys deserve to be taught what they deserve to, and they are allowed to be selective. You don't have to take everything that's thrown at you. And we should teach vetting. you know, to men. They should be they should be taught vetting so they could know who deserves
what?
who deserves that treatment. That, you know, that
Deserves
is
a
a
nice
woman,
day, who
mother
deserves
responsible
to
to just get a drink in the club and take her home.
Yes, definitely. Well, I want to thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Man's Perspective. Make sure you guys follow the page of Man's Perspective _ on okay, my fault. All right. Well, thanks for you guys tuning in to another episode of A Man's Perspective. Make sure you guys follow the pages A Man's Perspective _ on Instagram, A Man's Perspective on YouTube. Also, shout out to our sponsors, Outliers Apparel. Make sure you guys follow them. I got the store in Lansing on 3432 Ridge Road. They open Tuesday through Saturday, 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. I know the guys that's running that place. Amazing people. Great clothes.
I agree.
I love it. But yeah, we're going to holler at y'all next time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.